She ignored you? Perfect. Now it's your turn to vanish. No drama, no explanations, just silence. A strong man doesn't react. He disappears. You sent the message. She saw it, read it, stayed online, and didn't reply. Your mind starts spinning. Did I say something wrong? Is she testing me? Did she lose interest? But here's the truth. She wants control, and you just gave her the stage. Most men panic at this point. They double text, overthink, try harder. They believe that love is earned by proving themselves, but attention is not a reward, it's a mirror. The moment you start chasing someone who's pulling away, you send a message louder than any words. My value depends on you. And that's when they lose interest completely. The Stoic doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He observes. Distance is not rejection, it's revelation. If she cares, she'll feel your absence. If she doesn't, she was never really there. Either way, you win. Not because you got her back, but because you stayed in control. You respected yourself. So the next time she ignores you, don't spiral, don't perform. Don't try to explain your worth. Disappear. Quietly, calmly, let your silence speak. Because sometimes the most powerful move a man can make is to do absolutely nothing. You see, her silence isn't a puzzle to solve, it's a mirror. And what you see in that mirror tells you everything about your own strength. Most men chase closure. They want answers. They need to understand why she changed, why she pulled back, why things feel different. But the truth, you don't need closure. You need clarity. And clarity comes from watching, not from begging. Let her wonder why you didn't flinch. Let her feel the weight of your absence when the attention from others fades and the silence she once weaponized begins to echo. You don't win by getting her back. You win by not needing her back. That's the real power. To walk away with your head up, your dignity intact, and your peace untouched. She might reach out again. They usually do. But by then, you won't be the same man she left in unread messages. You'll be colder, sharper, focused. You'll have outgrown the version of yourself that used to lose sleep over her indifference. And if she does return, she won't be returning to the same door, because that door no longer exists. The version of you that obsessed over her replies, that reread old conversations searching for meaning, that man is gone. What replaced him is someone different, someone who realized that silence isn't an attack, it's an invitation to evolve. It's life telling you, here's your space, now fill it with something better. And here's the uncomfortable truth. She never expected you to hold the line. She expected weakness, emotion, drama, a reaction. That's what most give. She wanted you to confirm that she still had power, but instead, you vanished. No explanations, no games, just peace. That kind of discipline confuses people. It makes them look inward. It makes them question why they ever thought you were ordinary. You start to change in silence. The same silence she used to try and punish you becomes your sanctuary. You hit the gym, you read more, you build, you level up. And while she's scrolling through dopamine traps looking for validation, you're becoming the kind of man she'll never have access to again. Not because you hate her, but because you love your peace more. And maybe one night she'll stare at your name, finger hovering over the screen, wondering if she should reach out. But she won't. Because deep down, she knows the man you were is gone. And the man you are now doesn't look back. He doesn't revisit closed chapters. He rewrites the book entirely. So no, you didn't lose her. She lost the man who could have loved her deeply. And you? You gained something far greater. You gained yourself. You gained something she may never understand.
sovereignty.
You stopped measuring your worth by someone else's inconsistency. You no longer chase ghosts or try to fix things that chose to break themselves. And once you taste that kind of peace, real, earned peace, you'll never crave chaos again. Her silence wasn't rejection. It was revelation. It showed you where you stood in her life, and more importantly, where she stood in yours. And when you realize you were the only one who showed up with real intention, real presence, real depth, you stop blaming yourself. You stop asking, was I not enough? And start asking, was she ever even capable of receiving what I
Offered? The truth is, not everyone is ready for the kind of love that's rooted in strength. Some are addicted to the game, to the highs and lows, to the drama.
They confuse peace with boredom, stability with weakness. They crave attention, not connection. And when you don't feed that craving, and when you refuse to beg, argue, or perform, they move on. Not because you lacked something, but because you had too much of what they weren't prepared to handle. And that's the paradox. You didn't lose her. You outgrew the version of you that would have settled for someone that shallow. You stopped trying to force meaning into someone who spoke in mixed signals and temporary affection. You broke the cycle. And breaking that cycle, that's rare, that takes power. It means you'll never again fall for the same patterns. You'll recognize the silence, the withdrawal, the manipulation. And instead of reacting, you'll nod quietly and walk away. Not because you're bitter, not because you want revenge, but because the man you're becoming has standards now. And peace is one of them. She won't understand it at first. She'll think you didn't care, that you just moved on. She might even tell herself that you were never that invested, but deep down in the silence you left behind, she'll feel the truth. You did care. You just cared more about your soul than your ego. And that's what makes you different. That's what makes you unforgettable. Not because you played games, but because you refused to play at all. So don't stalk her page. Don't wait for the text. Don't ask mutual friends if she talks about you. That's a past life now. That's a version of you that begged for scraps, and you've buried him. You've upgraded, and you're not here to prove that you've moved on. You're here to live like you never needed her in the first place. Let her stay where she chose to be, outside your life. Let her wonder if she ever really knew you. Let her feel the distance, the silence, the space you no longer fill. And if one day she does come back, let her meet a man she doesn't recognize, a man she has no access to, a man who smiles with calm eyes and a still soul, not because he won, but because he learned what peace actually costs. And he's never willing to lose it again. She taught you something, unintentionally. Her silence became your mirror, and you saw clearly who you used to be, desperate, restless, addicted to replies, to attention, to being chosen. But that version of you, he died the moment you stopped explaining yourself. He died when you decided that presence doesn't beg to be seen. He died when you realized that being ignored isn't the worst thing that can happen. Betraying your own dignity is. Now you operate on a different frequency. You don't chase people. You don't force conversations. You don't explain your silence, and you don't fear theirs. You learned that attention means nothing when it's given without depth, that love without respect is just manipulation dressed up as affection. And above all, you learned that no one, no matter how beautiful, seductive, or charming, is worth losing your center. Because power isn't in the noise, it's in restraint, the ability to stay still while the world pulls at you, the strength to feel the sting of rejection without reacting, the discipline to leave when you're not valued, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with pure, unshakable indifference. That's where men are made. Not in how loud they shout, but in how silently they walk away. So let others chase the validation. Let them obsess over who texts first, who cares more, who wins the power game. You're not in that arena anymore. You've graduated. Now your focus is sharper, your standards are higher, and your time, it's sacred. You no longer waste it proving your worth to those too blind to see it. You spend it building your mind, your body, your future. You've turned your silence into a weapon, a shield, a sanctuary, and while she may never understand that, she will feel it. She'll scroll past your name. She'll revisit your old messages. She'll remember the man who didn't break when she pulled away. And maybe, just maybe, she'll realize, too late, that the man she ignored became the man she could never reach again. You don't need to announce your growth. Real power doesn't need validation. It doesn't shout. It radiates onto us in how you walk, how you respond, how you no longer react. People feel it when you enter a room. She'll feel it too, not in the form of a message or a call, but in the absence that now defines your presence. Because true transformation leaves no breadcrumbs. You didn't leave a trail for her to follow. You walked through fire and came out forged. She can't trace those steps because they were never meant for her. You don't seek closure anymore. Closure is for men who still need answers. You've moved beyond answers. You're not trying to understand why she acted the way she did. That's not your burden to carry. Her silence, her games, her withdrawal, they were never a reflection of your worth. They were a reflection of her own chaos. And once you separate her behavior from your identity, everything changes. The spell breaks, the fog lifts, and you no longer see her as something lost. You see her as something released. And the freedom in that? It's addictive. You begin to apply the same standard to everything. You don't chase flaky friends. You don't explain yourself to people who question your silence. You don't stay in places where your energy is tolerated instead of respected. This isn't about her anymore. It never really was. She was just the spark. The beginning of your evolution, a trigger, a mirror, a lesson. What came next was all you. You chose to sit with the pain instead of numbing it. You chose discipline over distraction. You trained while others scrolled. You worked while others waited for closure. You turned heartbreak into hunger. That's rare. That's dangerous. That's the kind of man people remember and fear. Because you're no longer accessible. Not in the way you once were. You don't open doors for people who walk like they're just passing through. You don't explain your silence. You don't romanticize potential. You observe, you measure, and you act. If someone adds peace, you let them in. If they bring noise, you let them go without a word. And in that quiet, in that control, in that unwavering discipline, you become untouchable. Something strange starts to happen when you stop chasing people. They start watching you. They don't say it, but they notice. The woman who once left your messages on read now lingers on your profile. The people who once doubted your worth now whisper your name when you're not around. The world starts to shift when you stop handing out access for free. Because mystery is magnetic and you become untouchable without ever trying to be. But here's the key, you're no longer performing. This isn't some mask you wear to look strong. This is who you are now, solid, grounded, focused. You're not acting detached. You've simply detached from everything that once controlled you. You don't need to prove anything. Not to her. Not to anyone. Your life speaks louder than your words ever could. While others chase attention, you chase mastery. While they wait for texts, you wait for nothing. You've become self-sufficient, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. That scares people because the world thrives on insecurity. It depends on men who doubt themselves, who bend, who break, who seek permission to feel valuable.
You broke out of that system. You walked away from that game. Now, when people speak to you, they feel something different. It's not arrogance, it's not bitterness, it's certainty, it's presence. It's a calm that can't be faked.
You look them in the eye and they know this man can't be manipulated, he can't be played. He's not here to be liked. He's here to live with purpose. That's rare. And that's why people start leaning in. They want to know your story. They want to understand how you became this version of yourself. But you don't give them the full story, because not everyone deserves the origin. Some people are only meant to witness the result. They weren't there for the heartbreak, the silence, the nights alone. So they don't get the blueprint, they get the finished product. A man who walked through the fire and came out made of it. And that woman, the one who thought you'd wait, chase, beg, she doesn't get it either. She never saw your value because you hadn't seen it yet. But now you walk with it. Now you wear it. And she can feel the difference. She won't say it. Maybe she'll never say it. But somewhere in her mind, in a moment of stillness, she'll remember. She'll remember the man who never raised his voice, never played games, never begged. The man who disappeared with dignity and rose in silence. And she'll realize she never really had him. She had the old version, the one who was still learning, the one who still needed to let go. Now she sees what she missed. And now it's too late. You don't just walk differently now, you choose differently. You don't get impressed by beauty. You don't confuse attention with interest. You don't mistake energy for consistency. What you've been through taught you how to see clearly, not just people, but patterns. You can smell emotional chaos before it gets close. You can feel insecurity hiding behind fake confidence. And you know exactly what to do when someone starts playing games. You don't play back, you leave, because your time is currency now, and you refuse to spend it where it's not respected. That woman from your past, she was a lesson, a brutal, necessary, unforgettable lesson. She showed you the cost of giving yourself too easily. She showed you what happens when you prioritize potential over peace. And now you hold your peace like it's the last weapon you'll ever own, because it is. You've developed something few men ever do: discernment. You don't entertain just anyone. You're not desperate for connection. You're intentional. If someone wants your time, they have to earn it. Not by chasing you, not by proving themselves, but by matching your peace, by protecting your focus, by bringing calm to your life, not chaos. That's the new standard. That's the code. And it's not just about relationships. It's about how you do everything. You don't rush anymore. You don't panic when things take time. You've learned that anything real is built slowly, patuai, and anything that comes too fast probably came to distract you, not bless you. So you move with patience, with presence, with purpose. Every word you speak has weight now. Every step you take has direction. People sense it. They respect it, even if they don't understand it. You're not loud, but you're not invisible. You're not cold, but you're not available to just anyone. You've become rare. And rare isn't for everyone. That's the part most won't
Accept. Some people will call you distant, some will call you arrogant. Let them. You're not here to be decoded.
You're not here to prove that you're still soft, still open, still waiting. You're done waiting. Now you build. Now you protect what you've earned. Now you live by a rule few ever have the strength to adopt. If it costs you your peace,
It's too expensive. Now you move differently, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you finally know who you are. You've stopped trying to fit into places that never deserved you.
you've outgrown the noise, the validation games, the people who only loved the version of you that didn't know his worth yet. And now you walk into rooms and change the temperature. You don't need to speak much. People feel it. That weight, that presence, that clarity. It's the quiet power of a man who no longer negotiates with his standards. You see the difference everywhere. While others still cling to chaos, still chase people who breadcrumb them, still lie to themselves just to feel wanted, you've detached. Detached from needing to be liked, detached from being chosen, detached from the fantasy that love means suffering. You don't crave the highs anymore because you've lived through the crash. Now you crave consistency, depth, peace, and you're
Willing to walk alone until you find it. That's what separates you. Not your looks, not your money, not some social trick or tactic. It's your peace, your restraint, your refusal to be shaken. You've become a mirror. People either respect what they see or run from it. Some will try to provoke you just to prove you're not as calm as you seem.
Others will try to re-enter your life with apologies, hoping the door is still open. But the version of you they remember, he's gone. He's not angry. He's just not available. And the truth is, most people aren't ready for this version
Of you. The one who no longer needs closure. The one who can walk away without explaining.
The one who sees red flags in silence, in tone, in hesitation, and trusts himself enough to say no. That level of self-respect, it's rare, it's powerful, and it comes with a price. You'll be misunderstood. Let them misunderstand.
You. Let them talk. Let them wonder why you changed. You didn't change to be mysterious. You evolved to survive.
To stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. You learned that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And now you protect it like a man who finally knows what it's worth. You're not who you were when this started. That man, the one who overthought every text, who waited by the phone, who questioned his worth when he was ignored, he served his purpose. He showed you your wounds. He made you face the emptiness you tried to fill with someone else's presence, but now he's gone. And in his place stands a man forged by silence, rejection, and the discipline to stay still when every part of him wanted to scream. You didn't just heal, you evolved. You stopped chasing moments and started building a life. You stopped explaining yourself and started trusting your own judgment. You stopped reacting and started choosing. And most importantly, you stopped trying to be understood by people who never even tried to see you. You became your own closure, your own validation, your own peace. She was never the destination, she was the detour that forced you to build a better road. And while she may live in nostalgia, replaying what was, you're too far ahead to look back. Not because you're cold, not because you don't feel, but because you finally understand. Some chapters aren't meant to be fixed, they're meant to be finished. So you don't chase, you don't respond, you don't entertain what doesn't nourish you. You sit in silence, not as a victim, but as a king. Not as a boy trying to prove his worth, but as a man who knows it. And from that throne of discipline, of self-respect, of unshakable calm, you watch the world shift. You watch people return. You watch the old version of yourself vanish in the rear view, and you drive forward, steady, focused, free. Because in the end, the most powerful move isn't revenge. It isn't making her miss you. It isn't showing her what she lost. It's never needing to.